Hello everyone. So an important message in today's video, which is that the mind is the destroyer of reality. Think about the mind. What happens when the mind is not still? You have a thought about this, you have a thought about another thing, and none of these thoughts are consistent. It's just like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I want this. Oh, I forgot I had to do that. It's like either about the past or the future or some sort of fear. And the mind makes something an illusion, actually. Like, think about a child who's looking at a chair. A child has a more opened, pure essence within them. So they don't see the chair as a chair. They don't have all these labels associated with the chair, all these like associations of what you use it for. But instead, they connect to the energy, the infinite abundance of energy within the chair, because they're seeing it and experiencing the energy from their heart. You see, all these things that we see in the form, all like the table, the cup, the chair, it's simply a byproduct, an effect, the output from the energy. So the mind is good with the output, the effects, the form, okay, I'm going to call this a cup. I'm going to call this a laptop. The mind is good at that. So we use it. We use the mind when we need to work with form, but we leave it at that and we allow separation. We stay in the consciousness, because the consciousness, the awareness, the wholeness, the energy, which we feel in our heart, the heart is the center of experience and energy. That is what is real. So it's one thing to say, if someone's going to take a driving test, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to study all the things. I'm going to like use my mind to really learn how to drive, and I'm going to take all the quizzes and do all the flashcards. Great. Really good job. You've studied and you've gotten a lot of theories down. Okay, now drive the car. What happens? What happens? Oh, shoot, what's the order again? What am I doing? This is because the best way to actually nail your driver's test, to actually drive and learn how to drive, is to drive. Because you tap into the energy. You tap into the experience in the heart, not the form of the mind. The mind is just fleeting and conceptual, and concepts aren't real. What is real is what you experience. So, if you take an 80-year-old person and say, and you show them a chair, they're going to be, oh, that's a chair, and that's all it is. Because they're tapped into the form, their mind has just completely limited that chair to everything that they associate a chair with. All those associations that have built up in the mind, whereas the child doesn't have that, and they are more in tune with the heart and less attached to the form, more attached to the formlessness. Great. So the mind is a tool. I'm not saying we don't use the mind. We need to make calculations, and we need to be able to say, hey, pass me the salt. Not just like, hey, can you pass me the infinitely abundant energetic thing on the table? Like, we need form and we need to be practical, but we need to allow separation so that we are not identified as though that's salt and that's all it is. In our heart, if we can sustain that level of being, of attachment to the consciousness, then we can keep our vibration very high, because form has an inherently low vibration because it's the output. It's the effect, not the causes. The causes are inherently high vibrations, because all high vibrations manifest when form is only produced when the vibrations are low enough to actually take form. So you see, this is why we want to be in the energy, because that's where the high vibrations are. So how do we work with this? Now that we are understanding why the great sages, saints, and masters and the teachings say that the mind is a tool, but it limits reality. So how do we deal with this? Well, it helps to have a good foundation. Because yes, if your thoughts are going from one thought to another thought, then what good is anything that you actually do? It's just fleeting. Everything is short term. Everything is conceptual. If we can have a still mind, this is very powerful, because now we are limiting less of our reality and we are tuning into the heart energy, the heart center. So I'm going to show us how we can do this. First thing is that if there's anything unresolved in our life, we can very much easily make things kind of get incredibly blown out of proportion. I've seen this in myself, whether I'm I'm doing like some sort of performance, or I need to give a presentation. The actual act of like giving the presentation or something is like, yeah, it's painful, you feel it, and then that's kind of it. And after those 30 minutes, you did the thing. That was all. However, it's as though you've been experiencing all of that pain and suffering like all the preceding days, thinking about it, worrying about it, just worshiping the problem. And even though the experience is very, fleeting and short term, the level of being when you're just worrying about it a lot is very intense, and it's like you're suffering twice. Actually, you're suffering from moment to moment to moment every time you're just thinking about it before you're actually doing it. So when we access a still mind, then we're not suffering twice. so so something we can do is to start resolving those subconscious energies where we feel like things start to get blown out of proportion. Here's the thing. Most of your problems in your life right now, I would say like 90% of your problems can be solved in 5 minutes. Maybe you just need to send that person a message. You need to write that email. You need to go run that errand. But if we are postponing things, procrastinating, and thinking about things, and maybe all you had to do was this simple little task, but by allowing time and space in your mind, it might have become this extremely blown out of proportion thing. Sometimes there have been times where I've made a comment to someone and they didn't think much of it, but I kept replaying it and replaying it and replaying it when nothing real was there to actually worry about. And it's like you're just experiencing so much unnecessary identification with a problem. So we don't need to do this and blow things out of proportion. Most things in your life can be solved within 5 minutes. So just if you need to click off this video and just do that, do it. Just do it, because it'll counteract all of those subconscious energies that bubble up when time and space kind of enter the picture, even though a solution is very simple. So this is the power of making your bed in the morning, because if you don't make your bed, it kind of sets you on the track that you're not really accomplished. It gives you like a bit of a boost, like, oh, I can do things. Whereas if you don't make your bed, it's very easy to start allowing that energy of overthinking and procrastination and blowing things out of proportion. When you make your bed, it just like counteracts that, because you get the experience of you actually realize that it's an illusion to start overthinking things and making them a bigger problem in your mind. So most of your problems, like 90% of what's going on in your life that you feel is like a problem, can literally be solved in 5 minutes. So do that. And now, okay, you're still gonna have things going on in your mind. So we want to move into the heart. So how do we move into the heart? The heart, this is very exciting, because when we live with the heart, people say, follow your heart and you'll be happy. This is because the heart is tuned into the energy. The heart is tuned into the joy, the love. And when you're in fear and you have a chaotic mind, you can't do that. So let's move into the heart. So there's a couple things we can do here. The first thing is gratitude. If we are holding on to our past, then we're not truly present. And when we are truly present, our body is in harmony and we are in our heart. So when we are holding on to the past, the mind is not still. If we can be grateful for, hey, I have a phone to record with. Hey, I have a group of friends. This is a very powerful exercise. And you don't have to journal this out, but you can kind of think these sorts of thoughts when you want to recalibrate to gratitude. You can do this whenever you want. This is the exercise. You can journal this, you can pray to yourself, and you can just talk this out loud or just think this. This is something that many powerful people actually do, which is anything to get you on gratitude. So you can just list 10 things in your present moment. They can be anything. 10 things that you feel grateful for. Like, I feel grateful for this lamp. I feel grateful for the design on the lamp shade. And I feel grateful for the ideas that this person had to have and receive from divinity to be able to have the idea to even create these designs. Just think of 10 things, and this raises your vibration just a lot. Because you tune into the high vibrations of gratitude, and you can receive now. When you're feeling lack, you can't receive. You're blocked. There's a blockage. That's darkness, and the light can't come in where there's darkness. So if you want to receive and feel and embody abundance, we have to embody that and actually be on that vibration, because we attract whatever we radiate. Okay. So this gratitude practice is very powerful. Another thing you can do is be in service in any way. So maybe, for example, maybe you're walking behind someone and they drop like $20 on the ground. Now look, you're thinking, hey, I mean, listen, $20, right? So if we take, it'll feel good short term, but there will be a sort of chaos later, because we haven't really earned it. And so it feels good for a second, and then we're like, I didn't earn this, and we want to earn it. However, there's a longer term situation where instead of taking the $20 that this person just dropped on the ground, you give it to them. So it hurts for a second, but it's bittersweet. And then you go on your day and you're like, I'm glad I did that. It's the sort of thing where, like, if you were to be on your deathbed at the end of that day, what would you be thinking? You'd be like, okay, if I died right now, that'd be fine because I did the right thing. And this kind of connects you to your heart, because it sacrifices and disintegrates the sort of psychological aggregates that block you from connecting to your heart. And the heart really loves that. The heart loves service. The heart thrives on giving. So when you sacrifice any taking sort of nature and you feed the giving nature, it's very powerful. It very much connects you to your heart. And it has this long-term effect of like, oh, now I kind of know what I want to do during my day. Now I kind of know the right words to say in these situations, because yes, you've earned it. You've sacrificed the darkness that was blocking you from connecting to that light of guidance and happiness and joy. So this is great. It's giving, it's very giving. So to do service, we have to be aware of the dynamic of taking versus giving. When we are giving, it helps us to connect to the heart. But when we are taking, it disconnects us. So anytime we are reactive, we are taking. Why? Because to be reactive means you don't feel enough, so you feel like you have to have something to have gratification in order to resolve that. So anything we can do to not be reactive is very important. We need to, anytime we're about to be reactive, where it's like, oh, I want to take. What does this look like? Someone says a comment to you and you want to lash out at them. What does this mean? You feel lack and you want to have an instant gratification. You feel anger, lack, and you want to lash out to have a gratification to resolve that. Okay, well, this is taking. So if we pause, we can connect to the light. If we pause and we don't do the reactive thing that is mechanical, that is what we would usually do, and instead we allow separation, this is the most powerful thing you can do. Anytime you're about to be reactive and you pause, you connect to the self. You connect to the light, you connect to the energy, you connect to the infinite abundance. And so you stop trapping more light in darkness, and instead you expand your vessel to contain more light, to be in union with the heart, to be in service, to be giving truly. So any sort of service where we do this, whether it's someone drops $20 and you decide to give it to them instead of taking it, or even just to like, hey, like, can I make you some tea? Would you like me to make you dinner tonight? Anything you can do in service, whether or not it feels like you're sacrificing. If you're in service, the heart loves this, because the heart is the energy. The heart is the high vibration energy that causes the love. Those qualities of the awareness of the energy that the heart is in tune with is love. That is the inherent nature of energy. So giving, service, very powerful. You can write a letter, you can give someone a compliment, I think you guys get the memo on that. Another thing you can do is for the heart, if we get kind of trapped into routine, the heart can feel a bit stifled. It's like, I notice this in myself, and I think kids are just such a perfect example of this, because kids have such a pure essence, and they haven't built up the personality that kind of stifles that essence. When a lot of people enter adulthood, it's like, dude, I don't see the light in your eyes anymore. What happened? It's because they stopped being a kid. So I saw this in myself when I was going to school. Like, I would just want to do something. I would just want to do something fun. I would be like, hey, it's time for recess. It's time for recess. But I had all these adults telling me like, no, you have to stay in this room that kind of looks like a prison and like read a lot of words. I know you want to like go have fun and like run around and like do innocent little child activities that would be really invigorating. However, I'm sorry, you have to stay in this room that lacks windows and light and just like do important adult tasks, okay? My child didn't like that. Being a child, just like you feel stifled. So how do we do this? Well, we're gonna have that dynamic within ourselves because it's simply something that is a part of our life as we grow up. We have this dynamic where we've simply through being a child, going through childhood, we've had people kind of maybe giving this sort of, hey, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, and we feel like this conformity sort of complex within ourselves. So we challenge this, and we challenge this how? By letting the child speak, by letting the child do, by letting that essence find an outlet. When the essence finds an outlet, it gives that child within space. So a good exercise is to do an activity or anything that would really like give space to that energy in the heart. So this is commonly referred to as like an artist date, but we have our routine. We do certain things in the day. It's like, I work out, I have dinner at this time, I talk to these people and do work within this time period. Okay, this is all fine. We need this. It's practical. But if we can allow some time, even if it's just once a week, you can do this once a day, you can do this once a week, and you can do bigger forms of this throughout the year, is you just do something that would be like really exciting. That is like totally random. It's like adding like an extra flavor to the day. So you can you have your things that you do during the day, but then you add something in, like maybe you want to get a pastry. You go to a freaking cafe and you get a pastry. This sounds easy, but what happens? Oh, I have to be productive. This is not right. What am I doing? Spending money on a croissant. Who am I to think that I can do that? I can't do that. I absolutely can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. No. This is the mind. And the mind is the destroyer of reality. Follow your heart and get a pastry. Follow your heart, and when you're used to having your common work schedule that you do every day, follow your heart, and once a week or once a day or once every few days, go out and say, hey, I do want to visit that museum. Hey, I do want to look at that art gallery. Hey, I did kind of want to walk around that interesting like thrift store and just kind of feel the fabric of different clothes. This is called an artist date. Do this once a week. Do this once a day if you want. Whenever you want, you can do this. And it really counteracts all of those thoughts that tell you, and you show yourself, hey, I actually don't have to like limit my reality to just adult things. So that's really great. My mom is really good at this. Like, my mom told me like she went to a carousel and just like hung out at the carousel and just went on it. It's like, Mom, that's amazing. Like, most people would never fathom doing that because they would just feel like they're not allowed to. But you do it. You can do that. So I think that's the main set of material that I wanted to discuss, but there's a final thing I will leave us with. I will leave us with a mantra, because we've covered some practical things in this video about entering mental stillness and accessing infinite love in our heart. So, a good mantra is one of the vowels that we can do. So the chakras, we have the chakras. Okay, we have the 7 chakras. The heart chakra is where we can be a vessel for divinity. The heart chakra is where the infinite energy is translated into actual physical work. The heart chakra is the center of the Christ consciousness. So we're going to do a mantra for the heart. So the mantra for the heart is O. O. When you, the mantra is it refers to the vibrations that have always been there. So actually it's very powerful when you say a mantra, because those vibrations that have existed since the existence of time, when you say a word, it never just disintegrates. There's energy, the energy. So you're tuning into that energy when you are mantralizing. So you can do this, actually, you can do this with your actual sound, and like make a sound and do the O mantra. Or you can do it as a whisper, or you can do it internally, which is actually very powerful. So something that we recommend that you'll hear from people, that are familiar with this, is that we often find it a bit more accessible to start like, oh, this is the mantra, oh. So you just, oh, and you just sit there and you just do that. We can make this full of pranayama and other things, but if you start to do this, this will help with the if you just take like a 10-20 meditation, just do this 10-minute meditation, just do this, or do it throughout your day. This is very powerful. It's connecting you to your heart. You can do O or Om. The Om, when you add the M and you say Om, then it's like sort of a bell, and the M helps connect it to the rest of your body. But the importance is the O, and you will put your awareness on the heart energy. This will help a lot. This is not Aum, A-U-M. This is Om. That mantra that you hear, that is very popular, where you've probably heard like Buddhists talk about the Aum, the sacred Aum. This is the cosmic vibration of divinity. This embodies the past, present, and future. Aum, like A-U-M, is not referring to the O. That's a different mantra, because it's actually the Aum, not the O, but the Aum is, it's actually 3 separate sorts of energies that you're tapping into. It actually consists of A, U, and M. So that's different. I'm talking about the O, just the O. You do that. That's it. That's the meditation. That's a mantra you can do. To just sit there. You can do this when you're walking. You can do this just sitting down in the morning or at night, and you'll start to feel more connection with your heart. Maybe your dreams will start to be more aware. And yeah, you can do this with your mouth and actually like vocalize it with sound. And then as you do that, you can start turning it into a whisper, and then you can turn it into an internal voice. When you do it in the internal voice, you're actually closer to the consciousness. So it's actually very powerful to just do it with the internal voice. So you can start like, oh, and then you can do, oh, and then you can go internal. So you start sound, vocal sound, whisper, and then internal. This is a good way to do it. Or you can just go straight into doing it in your internal consciousness. And in this way, it's like you're vibrating the consciousness itself. It's extremely powerful to do this. So, but if you just want to, it's also fine if you just want to keep it as a vocal exercise. That's totally fine. You can do this when you're walking. You can do this sitting down. You can do this lying down. You can do this when you're doing the dishes, or when you're doing some sort of typical task at work. The O mantra connects you to the heart. So this is very helpful, and it's one of those primary vowels to work with. So if you guys want to go more in depth on anything, let me know. I hope that this video is helpful. Thank you for watching. Peace out.